Hello and welcome to IIABCAL Voices. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. here on JLJ Media, which is my network. We're in collaboration with IIABCAL, and we're talking about their InsurPATH sessions. And so we're interviewing another speaker presenter for this year's InsurPATH. If you want to know more about that, IIABCAL.com, InsurPATH 2021, go there for information. He's presenting this very interesting subject, the ransomware epidemic facing small business, on November 17th from 11 to 12 p.m. Help me welcome the Vice President of National Accounts for Cowbell Cyber, which I've heard before, actually, Dan Law. Hi, Dan.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I want to ask, before we can get to your session, there's something interesting about you that I actually want to give people a little glimpse of who you are, why they should listen to you. You were recognized at one point as one of the top 100 brokers and the #1 fastest growing independent insurance broker in the country.
My old outfit was, the Liberty Company insurance brokers. So I come from the retail side of the business. Before I joined Cowbell Cyber, I did about 15 or 16 years as a commercial insurance broker. And I got to spend about 9 lovely years with that organization. The Liberty Company, headquartered out of Southern California, was the managing partner of their office in San Jose in Northern California. But that's my background. Been a commercial insurance broker my entire career, since before I graduated from college. So, quite a bit of time there, and what a great organization. Really got in sort of ground level and like to think I had a hand in growing that operation into what it is today, and that leadership team does a phenomenal job. So one of the fastest growing brokers out there.
I would like to ask people, because I interview people from all walks of life, when someone's considered #1 or one of the tops, I always just want to ask, how does it feel when you read that or told that? I know you're in the middle of it because you're busy building business and you're working, but to hear that kind of accolade or that kind of stand, how does that feel?
Well, it's really attributed to the team environment and the culture that's being built, right? So when you get everybody that's got a common goal in driving value for the customers, and you get such a dynamic team put together, it's really kind of the payoff, some of the reward, right? When you see and get that sort of recognition as a group, as the organization did, it really just goes to show, you're operating somewhat in a vacuum, and you're doing what you do, and you're coming to work every day, and the nuts and bolts things that go along with all of that. But getting some of that validity from outside sources sure feels good.
Yeah, that sounds very nice. Okay. Ransomware. So I know a little bit about it, and it's crazy talk. I know a few companies who've been literally held hostage by it. For folks who are thinking, even the word ransomware sounds bad. Can you explain first, before we talk about the actual session, what ransomware is to the person out there?
Yeah, basically ransomware is like a threat actor, a third party that will gain access to your network or some of your confidential information or something, and is essentially holding you hostage. They're going to say, hey, we've locked everything down, we've stolen X, Y, or Z, and we'll give it back to you. We'll let you operate again normally if you pay us for it. We've seen the severity of those issues go up over the past couple of years. We've seen the frequency go up. So, we used to just think it was a large business issue, and that's really not the case anymore. These threat actors, as we call them, be it nation states or for-profit hacking groups or whatever it is, are really out there targeting wherever they can get, and the paydays for them have been pretty significant.
I always think that, because also it kind of parallels identity theft. In the old days, it was all of a sudden your account is under $2,000. I'm just picking them out. But now it's like, and it's usually one big purchase. Like it's one big purchase. Now, because that has happened to me. Now it's like they do little purchases. It's little things that kind of seem like, well, did I buy those shoes or did I not buy those shoes? And like all of a sudden, it kind of adds up, and then you realize you've been attacked. And I feel like ransomware, like you just said, before it was the big companies, but now it's like it's anybody now, right? Anybody.
Yeah, I mean, information is everywhere. Your data is stored with vendors and suppliers and folks throughout the world. In a lot of cases, you don't even know the breadth of where it's stored and where your information is held or collected anymore. Some states have gone on to pass laws related to that and data regulation sort of legislation, but largely it's tough. It's not uncommon, James, you get what, 3, 4 notices a year that your information's been stolen, and now
Yes.
somebody's going to provide you credit monitoring services. It's like, great, I need that again.
Yes.
And that used to be the extent of it, right? We talked very early on in cyber. When I used to sell it as a broker, it was primarily, okay, for the business, how many records do you have? How many personally identifiable information? How much of that do you have on your network? And what's it going to cost to notify those people and provide credit monitoring? And it's really expanded beyond that over the past several years. I mean, ransomware existed for a while, but
Yeah.
we've seen the real uptake in it over the past couple of years, where it's beyond the data. It's holding you hostage. It's not allowing you to manufacture anything or sell anything or close any deals. It's a significant issue for a lot of folks these days, and we see it happening every day.
Yeah, we do. Has the pandemic, like partial shutdowns, like kind of now a lot of people are virtual and even more so now than before. Has that impacted ransomware at all? Has it made it happen more, less, but the same?
Yeah, I mean, directly correlated to sort of the pandemic, and when everybody was sent home, we started seeing the attack frequency and severity increase. So I think they are correlated. The digitization of all of those processes and the people
Yes.
that used to work in the office. Then how do you secure everybody when they're working on a personal laptop from their personal Wi-Fi
Right.
connection at home?
Right.
People that didn't used to use their personal cell phones for business are now being forced to. Lack of being in an office with somebody and being able to confirm certain data directly with your boss, and you're relying on that electronic sort of signature to
Yes.
facilitate a transaction or something else. So yeah, we've seen it speed up the frequency and severity of things.
And I'm telling you, as my aunt always says, she's retired. She's 80 years old, retired. She said, there are people, it's their job to disrupt. So, because they have all the time in the world to come up with ways to disrupt, I noticed that some of these things, especially online and email, a lot of people, it's email. You get an email, it looks real, it looks legit. Like it's seriously like I mean, you're like the letter, everything, it's very close. Like it's very close. And the wording, it's like it could be true, or maybe it's possible. Like those, like they picked into my brain and went, so James, let's see what you got in there. Let's see what we can add so it can scare you to like click on it or whatever. I'm very careful. Trust me. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust no one. No. But I'm saying, but isn't that part of it? That there's for these small businesses who may be down to 4 or 5 employees, 10 employees, don't have time to double check. You click on it, that's it, right? They're in.
Yep. And that's what they're banking on, right? They're banking on somebody making that mistake, moving too fast. Maybe it looks accurate, maybe it's a little bit off. My boss has never used that word before, but
Yes.
maybe they would,
Yes.
and clicking that link. So we drive a lot of resources at Cowbell in particular for our policyholders around training for phishing simulations and things like that, where you can run your employees through those things at the insured business to get these simulations going and track those click-through percentages and really train people what to look out for. Because in some cases, it's hard, James. I'm sure I've not closed certain deals or not gotten, lawsuit settlements that were coming my way because I refused to click on a link that came into an email of mine. But better safe than sorry in a lot of cases.
No, me too. I mean, I've seen something like, well, I did buy some Tylenol back in 2015. I don't know. I mean, that could be. I mean, I don't know. I don't either. I'm just like, never mind. I don't need. That's fine. I'll make my own money. Whatever. I don't really buy because I've had identity theft several times in my life, several times, and so and I've heard of the more popular gigs. I'm more in the public eye now. It's just more information out there. And folks, you think you're off the grid? Nobody's off the grid. Sorry. Sorry, you're not. It's not. They have you. I don't want. Your information's out there already. It's already out there, like you said, right? It's already out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's everybody anymore is processing something virtually. So the data is there and it's accessible. So it's can be a tough situation. We're really banking on businesses stepping up with some of their controls, and we're starting to see that the market for cyber insurance coverage is tightening and has been for a while, and really that's forcing insureds that used to be able to get coverage relatively inexpensively without keeping their house in order from a cybersecurity perspective. Now they're being forced to change what they're doing on their critical systems. So we think it's a great time to be in cyber insurance.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so this topic is going to cover some of those best practices, right? Going to cover what you can do as an employer, what you can do as an independent agent, what a broker, what you can do to kind of, well, I guess, help combat it or help. I mean, you can't really. What can you prevent it? I mean, I don't know.
Well, we think you can prevent it
Okay.
in a lot of cases. We think you can prevent it through using appropriate security tools, through appropriate awareness training. We think you can prevent it or really slow it down, stop it from impacting your business. We also talk a lot about the respond and recovery mechanism when something does happen. That's really where the insurance comes into play. But we'll spend some time in the seminar just going over really how ransomware is impacting small businesses. As we talked about initially, a lot of people think it is a big business exposure. You read nationally about the large businesses, the Fortune 500, that are under attack and have had to pay out. If you're in the insurance business, like our audience will be, they've seen it from large carriers, other large brokers out there that have impacted. But really, behind the scenes, the numbers are staggering with the attacks on small businesses and the impact on those organizations. So something like 60% of small businesses that have a ransomware attack will be out of business within 6 months. So, if you're not, as an agent, driving resources to your clients, it's not just about the cyber insurance sale, but you're also not going to have that account for workers' compensation, for the business owner's policy, or anything like that to sell them when their doors are closed. So we think appropriate security, appropriate insurance on the cyber front is really necessary for small businesses out there to afford them appropriate protection.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important. I think it's very important. It's gonna be a great session, folks. Affects everybody. And so, Dan Law, thanks for your time. Thank you for sharing this with me. I'm very excited for your session. I think it's gonna be a great one.
Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. And thanks for sitting down with me for a few minutes.
Yes, my pleasure. So the IIABCAL.com is the website. Go to InsurPATH 2021, see what the events are. He is one of the speakers. He'll be on Wednesdays, November 17th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm assuming that's Pacific Standard Time, of course. So it's called The Ransomware Epidemic Facing Small Business. That is the topic. So go there for that and learn more about him. I'm James Lott Jr. with IIABCAL Voices and JLJ Media. We thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.